Hello Golf Pass members, Martin Chuck here, coming to you from the Raven Golf Club in Phoenix, Arizona. You know, I'm thrilled to be a part of Golf Pass. There's so much amazing, fun content on there. Whether you want to watch Rory hit the bomb drivers or Phil Mickelson talk about all things Phil, visit Golf Pass for some interesting content. Of course, you can watch all my tips on there as well. Now, in this situation, Golf Pass, we've got what I call a level up series. And what do you mean, Martin, level up? Well, I've got 3 shots here. I've got a pin tucked dangerously over this bunker. I've got a little red cone that's in the far middle of the green, and then I've got a yellow cone to the right of the green, just pin high. Well, if you're trying to break 100, you know, this brings me back to teaching my wife how to play golf. Yes, I'm a brave man. We taught Stacy how to break 100. She breaks 100 regularly now. And the thing about choosing strategy, there's strategy and technique. The cone on the right is a great place when you're trying to just keep your score reasonable. If I had this shot and I was absolutely unsure of my ability to do so, going for this pin right here would be a disaster. I might hit it in the bunker, might take 1 or 2 or 3 out of the bunker, who knows, and my score skyrockets. So, learning how to do this right, leveling up. So technique-wise, if I'm hitting this shot to the safe zone, the yellow cone to the right, the techniques are very similar for the yellow cone that covers very little bunker, and then the red cone, which is over the majority of the high lip to a safe part of the green, and then the tricky shot for the people that are trying to break 80. This series is about breaking 100, breaking 90, and then breaking 80 and going lower. So take note of the technique when I hit these shots. A couple of things when you think about this, to have a great technique. If any of you have played volleyball, if you've ever bumped past a volleyball, you've had your elbows close together, you've had your arms long, and you'd be able to bump past a volleyball. Well, if I put a golf club in my hands and put my good hands on there in that same manner, you can see I have that nice triangle, that nice measure. We're trying to get you to have a decent radius from your address position to the tips of the green stuff. Now notice my stance, very, very narrow. All I'm trying to do is choose a speed, transport that speed, let that speed collect the golf ball. I call it choosing, pacing, and facing. And everything I do has a destination in mind. So even over this shot, if I'm teaching you to break 100, I'm going to tell you some technique keys that are similar for hitting this great shot to break 80, this really touchy shot. So the feet are close together, the club is off the ground, our arms are in front of us. We're choosing a speed, we're trusting that speed. Now, Golf Pass members, Golf Pass viewers, watch my arms. My arms stay comfortably long as I collect the ball and let the ball respond off the face to go to that safe zone over there to the right. Now from that point, I can putt it along the closely mown surface, I could chip it, but chances are I'll probably get down in 2 from there. If you're trying to break 100, let's go to this safe side over here. A couple of things to think about technique-wise. Take note of what this stick does. As I'm in my address position here and I went into my finish, you can see how I rotated and I stood up. I can't tell you how important this is. So many people come to the Tour Striker Golf Academy, week in, week out, that have played golf for years, and they are stuck in this idea that they have to keep their head down. I'm not going to say you can't get lucky from time to time. Keep your head down and maybe hit this shot, and maybe it works out. Very similar shots, but there's way more to manage, way more things to try to sort out, rather than having the structure of comfortably long arms, recognizing that the best players have this, they don't have all these compensations through impact. They have length, they learn how to pick a speed, they trust the speed, and they have a destination in mind. My destination is my finishing form. The golf ball gets collected. Here is my destination. This is where I am going. My arms are comfortably long. I've had a rotation into my lead side, into my lead heel. People always say, well, Martin, you know, what's your weight at address? Where's your weight? And I'd say, well, Golf Pass viewers, it's biased to the left, and as I rotate, it's going into my lead heel and up on my trail toe. So I am bending, looking at the golf ball, choosing a speed, pacing and facing, and going to my lead heel. So if you're trying to break 100, hitting out to that yellow cone is the smart play. You avoid the majority of this bunker. Even if you go a little long, you're fine. You can probably get down in 2 from there. All we want to do is break 100. We want to use some sense around the green, choose a shot within our wheelhouse of understanding. Now, when you're trying to break 90, give yourself a chance to make the putt. I've got my sand wedge here. This is my 56-degree golf club. I'm going to take on a bit more of this bunker right here. Basically the same shot. I'm going to take my aim it towards a bit more challenging. This shot is not a very high shot. Take note of the flight as I choose a speed and I let the club inspire the golf ball to move. I've got my measure. I'm choosing my speed. Let's collect the ball on the way to my destination, my finish. The ball gets inspired to go, and that's a really good one right there. Notice the finish. The ball was inspired to move off the loft of the face and went to my target. That's a basic pitch technique. Now, notice what I'm doing here, golf passers. I always keep my towel handy when I practice. I keep my towel on the ground. I use my foot. I keep the club clean. Please, on behalf of your GolfPass coaches, do not hit a series of chips and pitches with a lubricated, grassy, wet club face. That's a no-no. Clean the face off. Keep your towel handy. That way you get the correct response when you strike the golf ball and your loft doesn't vary all the time, okay? So keep your club clean. Now the technique was exactly the same. The challenge obviously was to cover a little bit more of that bunker, which I did. The golf ball worked out pretty well. Now here's the tricky one. This pin right here, it's kind of tucked. The same technique does not work. I could hit a low flighted shot, but let's watch where it rolls out. When I say low flighted, I'm not necessarily trying to hit a low, but this technique of structured arms, transporting to this destination, let me see how well I can do. Maybe it can get close, but I think I need a little bit more of an up and down, like a semi-lofted lob shot. I'll use the same technique on the last two shots. Let's see what we get. Again, we're leveling up GolfPass. We're trying to break 80. So there's the technique. Watch as it lands by the pin and rolls out. This is where we need to level up the technique. We basically took the same technique from 100 to 90, very safe on the right, and then a little bit more challenging into the middle of the green. Now to break 80, to get this closer to where we can guarantee a 2-putt and maybe even 1-putt when we hone this, when we get some time in practice, the technique's got to change. I'm going to change from my sand wedge, my 56-degree club, and I'm going to go to my lob wedge. So just by changing clubs, let's be sure the face is clean because I want maximum friction from the face to the ball. Here's the technique change. We need to have some overtaking. We need to have a little bit more of the club passing the hands. You could see in the first two demonstrations, on my way to my destination, my arms were sort of passive, matched with the rotation of my body, okay? Well, I'm adding some loft here, so that's gonna help, but I also wanna add in a little bit of overtaking where I let the club head line up with the handle a little bit sooner so the ball elevates a little bit more. When I do that, I'm gonna do a couple little adjustments to level up for this trickier shot. Now, when you do this, you're taking on more risk. You could miss, it's easier to miss. It's harder to judge the speed in order to get the ball to kind of go up and have a steeper landing angle to stay closer to the hole. I always suggest a few practice strokes by the golf ball to feel the ground when you do this. So I'm taking a bigger swing and I am letting this bounce, letting the sole of that golf club skid along the ground. And this skid zone here is about the length of a dollar bill. And guess what? I'm not touching the ball first. In the basic pitch, the examples prior, I was collecting the ball nicely, brushing the grass. Here I'm purposely letting the sole of the club flex into the turf a little bit behind the ball. Some moisture is going to get up in the face, the ball is going to loft high. It won't have the same spin as the previous shots, but it's going to have a steeper landing angle, and a steeper landing angle is what's going to help keep it close to the hole. Now, lubricating the face with practice strokes, guess what? I'm going to wipe the club head off. You know what I do on the course if the towel's not handy? I use my leg, not lying. So we've got a decent lie here. The ball is going to be a little forward in my stance. I've got to have some trust. See how I do? It's a tricky shot. I may miss. I'll do my best. Add a little bit of speed. I elevated the golf ball and I barely got over the bunker. So that's the risk you take, GolfPass members. I'm going to try my best to do another one. If I was on the golf course, naturally I would try this shot because I've practiced it. Unfortunately, you're not going to pull it off every time. I just didn't right there. The basic pitch shots were great. Let's try this elevated shot again. Ball's forward within a wider stance. A little bit more speed perhaps. You don't get redos on the golf course, that's the problem. And there's an example again, I missed the shot. Well, didn't intend to miss the shot. GolfPass members, that's the reality of golf. I'm a pretty good golfer, and I just missed 2 flop shots to this pin in a row. What's that tell you? I need to practice. Let me try this hard shot again. And this one's coming down pretty nicely. So, GolfPass members, you could see the strategy of these shots. Not particularly easy with the one getting close on the left. That's the one where you take on inherent risk. The first shot I hit nicely, not enough energy, barely clear the bunker. The second shot trying to, level way up, I kind of cut it a little thin. It went too far, went over the green, well, just went to the back of the green there. And then finally I hit one within 3 feet of the pin. That was quite a good shot. And the reality of this is, how do you get good at these? You get good at these through practice, dedication, building your feel and awareness to hit these shots. So Martin Chuck for GolfPass, so much great content. Be sure to log in, check it out. Tons of videos from the past from me that I love trying to help you play better golf. All the other coaches that help with great content and some fantastic stories as well. So just in summary here, when you are leveling up from 100 to 90 to 80, the basic shot out to the right, that's going to save you a lot of heartache. When you feel like you have mastery or some level of confidence over that, then take on this deep bunker, hit a shot into the green where you can 2-putt back to the cup, and then finally, let's go for the elevated shot that has a steeper landing angle. In this video, I just did all those shots live, recorded it for you, and guess what? The 2 out of 3 of them weren't very good. I tried my best, I missed. That's okay, that's what golf's all about. So Martin Chuck signing off for GolfPass. Be sure to check out all the great content.